ambitious and more. I mean, what a spokesperson. I mean, for every woman, for every man, for every young person, this is what I aspire to. And I hope that that's what you will learn tonight. If anything, this is what love is all about. Dr. King, I am from Atlanta. I grew up in Atlanta. I grew up during Dr. King's life, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I was able to see. Sadly, it's sad to say that I do remember a lot of the things that I saw that was wrong, but I am glad that I've lived through that so I can remember that and so that I can share that. I think sometimes if you haven't lived and you haven't seen the horrors of something bad, it's hard to really understand the progress that we have made, but at the same time, the challenges that we still have before us. And I do remember AD. I don't remember him obviously personally, but I remember when Dr. King was assassinated, there was fear that swept over not only the country, swept over Atlanta. I grew up in Midtown. We lived in Midtown. Went to Grady High School, which is also Dr. King's children. Several of his children went to the same high school after me. But I remember Atlanta and the citizens of Atlanta because of what Dr. King and his family had lived, had walked the walk and talked his talk. We were not afraid. People were like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Dr. King has been assassinated. It's going to be horrible. But the city of Atlanta did take time to love and not fight and not, be disruptive like other cities did. I was so proud of that. And I think about Dr. King and the three evils that he always preached against. Poverty, we still have it. Racism, sadly, we still have it. Wars, we still have them. But I do believe that there are good things that he would be proud to see and that AD would be proud. And I hope that you're proud to see that our youth that we've seen tonight come up, ask questions. I know that on Tybee Island we have the Tybee MLK Human Rights Organization. And this year, we usually have parades, but we weren't able to do that since COVID, obviously. But one of the things that we are doing today is having a virtual on Facebook and on the website with over 100 participants in the middle and high school Chatham County Savannah school system wrote about what was important to them and what they had learned from Dr. King and his movement. And there were 11 winners, and there were teachers who were involved. So I want you to know, Ms. King, that if you don't mind my calling you Ms. King, you're always going to be Ms. King, but I think just knowing that youth in today's society, they are remembering and they do respect. So if you get a chance, ask a youth, ask an adult what Dr. King and his legacy means. I would like to just end by saying, the butterflies, what a great story. And remember Muhammad Ali, some of you may or may not, but I remember his quote that he fluttered like a butterfly but stung like a bee. And I think about Dr. King and his movement. He did speak like a butterfly with gentleness and love and compassion, but his message was like a bee. It stings you, and today it still does. So thank you. And although Tybee, we don't have the fancy, keys to the city. I read about what keys to the city really mean. And back in the day, back in the medieval period, cities had walls around them, and unless you had a key to the city, you didn't get in. Right. And sometimes a lot of people, I know if you don't know the history of Tybee Island, many years ago, sadly, there was a racist mentality. There was a section of the beach that only African Americans were allowed. And today, those bridges have been broken down. Thank God. And I just want to say that it's a different place. And the other thing about keys to the city, they're supposed to be in a really fancy box, like Savannah, but Tybee has a very small budget. So, really kind of a cool little box with jewelry. But the main thing is, I want to give you this key to the city, and it's a lighthouse in the key, and the lighthouse is a symbol of light in the middle of darkness. And I think it's appropriate that you have this. And I added a little chain that you can wear, or you can display it, whichever is you choose. But again, y'all, thank you so much.
Give it to this beautiful lady. No, sit down. Sit. You're good. Okay, I've got another piece of jewelry that fell off. But this is for you. Thank you.
And up next, from Chatham County, our chairman, Chester Ellis.